The victim orientation is our default orientation as human beings. And I'd like to take just a couple minutes to share with you the victim orientation and how it shows up in terms of its FISB. And if you remember, the FISB has to do with what our focus is, that then engages an inner state, that then drives our behavior. So in the victim orientation, what we focus on are problems. Problem comes on the radar screen in our lives in a variety of ways. It can walk through the door, call us on the phone, shows up in an email. And what it engages as an inner state once that problem emerges is it engages some form of anxiety. Now that anxiety can be as mild as this is a hassle, I wish it would go away, to out and out fear and terror. So there's a broad range of anxiety responses. But that anxiety does give us energy for action. And the action that we take in the victim orientation is that we react. And when we react in one of three primary ways. It's either a fight, flight, or freeze form of reactivity. Now in the victim orientation, there is embedded in this orientation what I call a core delusion and a false hope. The core delusion is that we tell ourselves when we react that we're reacting to the problem, when in reality what we're reacting to is the anxiety that we feel that gets engaged by the problem. And the reason why that delusion is important to be aware of is to realize how much the anxiety is driving our action in the victim orientation. The false hope is that if we just solve whatever the presenting problem is, then everything will be okay, then I can focus on what I really care about. And it's a false hope because when we are entrenched in this orientation, if we are lucky enough to solve a problem, what takes its place is the next problem that's waiting in the queue. A couple of other things to consider about the victim orientation is that what we do with our attention in the victim orientation is we put our attention on what we don't want and what we don't like, which is why we call them problems, right? Our intention in the victim orientation is to get rid of or away from the anxiety that we feel. Now we tell ourselves it's to get rid of or away from the problem, but it's really to get rid of or away from the anxiety that we feel. And so we are engaged in trying to get rid of or away from those things that are causing us problems through our reacting. The victim orientation is also where the dreaded drama triangle lives, thrives, and gets reinforced.